Stevie!
Corey!
What's up?
Nothing much, you know? It sounded like we were about to have like a wrestling competition. I was here for it.
Stevie, no! Entering the ring.
Corey Miller, the contender in the corner.
What would your walk-in song be if you were a wrestler?
Oh, man, that's a really hard one.
We should have done this on the Creed 3 episode.
It's like hard because like it's got to be like a slower turn-up song. Like something that's like fierce but slow. Because like Bad Reputation by Joan Jett would be kind of wild. But like, you'd have to like run in on that, you know? What about you?
I don't know.
Well, welcome to Movie Club, Corey, where we're not going to be wrestling.
I asked you that and I had no idea what mine would be. I would probably have to come into some Kevin shit, you know?
Yeah.
I come into Boyer off of Arizona Baby.
That's fire. That's a good choice.
Yeah, I come in like this.
I tell them I can spin no game for free. Manage to rock, talking for it on your knees. My heart is in a shiver, I'm a fucking nigga spinning.
Welcome to Movie Club. Where was I at though? We're gonna slow it back down though. How you doing, Stevie?
I'm doing good,
How's
man.
your week been, bro?
It's been good. I have a friend in from Egypt, so it's been fun seeing him.
Hell yeah.
Got my long run in today, which is nice. My knee's going to be killing me tomorrow, but that's okay. It's a part of life.
Damn, yeah. Yeah, that's how it be.
I've been getting like, every time I run now, my knee hurts.
Really?
But it's because I'm running too much. But I don't
Like
wanna
it's
stop.
gonna like start. You're gonna like be able to tell like the day before it rains because your knee's gonna start aching.
I think so, honestly.
Oh man.
How are you doing?
I'm good. We'll talk. We'll let the song play a little bit.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
I haven't listened to this album in a while. I go back to Arizona Baby and of course the Family now, but not this one as much as I used to.
Me too. This one pops up for me sometimes on my like Spotify shuffle.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, never mind. I won't play. This is too slow. It's not the
No,
best.
it's a good vibe though. It's a good vibe. We needed to take ourselves down a notch after about to start a wrestling match.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just excited, man. I'm excited. But yeah, I've had a good week. Not much, man. I just binge watched Swarm this morning.
I was gonna say it's hard to have a bad week when like so much good TV is coming out.
Yeah.
Not to jump right into it, but damn.
Yeah. And I went and saw a movie. We'll talk about that. Oh yeah.
You watched a movie?
I went and saw a movie.
I've never heard. I didn't know you watched movies.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I didn't know.
Isn't that wild?
What'd you see?
Start there, I guess. Yeah. All right.
Let's go.
I went and saw Scream 6, man.
Ah!
That shit,
That was me screaming.
dude. That shit is so good.
Do you? I don't want to like make you rank all the screens, but does it
I-
rank up with
I'm-
like the S tier screams?
No, let me just say that it's so good that immediately I am gonna watch all the Screams.
That's awesome.
That's on my list right now. So I can't tell you anything about any of the Screams. I can tell you about Scream 5, and that was ass. And that was the last movie. Like I watched that like a year ago. The movie was ass.
But you can make the argument that you needed Scream 5 so that Scream 6 could happen.
True. Which now I'm really excited to watch Scream 5 again because like you love the characters of Scream 6 so much that like I'm like maybe I'll rewatch 5 and like be into it.
That's lit.
Like I don't know.
That's exciting.
I don't know. But it was so good. It was so fun. Like
Did it feel like a fresh take? I'm gonna see it
Yes.
this week for sure.
yes, I'm down to go see it again if that helps you go see it because
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's worth seeing in the theaters. I was like, yeah, I didn't want to watch any spoiler shit on it. I didn't see anything about it. And it's cool. Like I love just what trailers do nowadays. People are so good at putting nothing into trailers while putting like shit, putting something into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
But, like,
the advertisements they had a lot of promo for this, especially with posters.
yeah,
They dropped a lot of posters, had a lot of New York material.
That's what I'm saying. And there's there's a lot of shit that you see in it where you're waiting for it. You know what I mean? There's Ghostface with a shotgun, of course, and you're like, when am I gonna see Ghostface with a shotgun?
That's lit.
And the way they do it is phenomenal. And then, they have so much good movie, and you're like, wow, they still haven't done the train scene yet.
That's wild.
Yeah, and they've done so much crazy shit already, and they still haven't even done the trains. And then it's set up perfectly. It's Halloween night, and they are this is the most spoiler I'll give, but they're scared as hell. Let me just tell you that, and they have.
Well, it's Halloween night.
Yeah, and they have to take the train, and and of course everybody in the world's wearing Ghostface masks.
Oh, I'm pumped. I'm pumped.
Yeah, so it's
that was my Halloween watch this year. Was the Screams. I went through all of them.
They do their, they started out and you're like, oh wow, okay, this is an interesting, Scream intro. Screams has iconic intros.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Always. And you're like, oh, this is an interesting take on it. And then they even fuck you up even more.
Damn.
The intro of it is so good. And then the movie does not stop. It feels like it's in second act the whole time.
That's awesome.
In the best way possible.
Yeah, that's what got me hooked on the Scream movies was their intros.
Yeah.
They really blew me away, especially 2. 2 is one of my favorites.
I will say, just to be real, I feel the ultimate conclusion of everything, there's some things to be,
fair
about, but it's so fucking good up until it.
That's
and they
awesome.
still they still do their shit at
You've
the
got
end.
me sold to go see it for sure.
Yeah. It's great.
What was I going to say? I saw a tweet that somebody said, I was outside Scream 6, and I heard these teenagers saying, yeah, the Scream series, I think they first started coming out when my parents were kids, or something like that. It's damn, no, it's not that old. Come on.
I mean,
it's
you
old.
don't know who their parents are.
That's true. That's true. That's
Their
a good
parents
point.
could have been 20 at the time, and they could have just been kid. You know what I mean?
That's true.
To where they had on right when Scream went. Yeah, I mean it's a 20-year-old franchise.
Yep.
To where if they had a baby right after Scream,
That's
and they
true.
were having babies at 20, that's technically kids.
Yeah. I wonder if there's someone out there that's yeah, Last of Us is this game that my dad played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you watch it? Are you current? Did you do it? Nice.
Yeah, I did. I finally did. I caught up. I caught up. Basically, it was Sunday night, and I was doing the podcast shit, and then at a certain point, I was like, all right, I need to just start Last of Us and really, I'd not start it, but
You didn't want to be the Last of Us to finish.
yeah, I saw the internet going crazy already. and
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I can't.
Dude, the one thing that was a little bit disappointing in terms of reception, and this is, not actually disappointing, but the Oscars were happening at the same time. So we didn't get that Sunday night moment where you log on to Twitter and everybody's talking about it. But it was awesome.
And it still exceeded viewer count.
Oh yeah,
you
it did.
know,
It grew every single week.
Yeah.
There was a week that it technically dropped, but they counted Friday through Sunday for the Super Bowl.
So then it technically grew.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
we're gonna spoilers from here on out.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
'Cause I gotta
We're
talk
getting
about
into
the
it because we got to go back. We got to go back to Sam and Henry.
yeah. Well, my takeaway, and I haven't played the games, but I knew this ending was coming.
So yeah,
And-
what all did you know about Last of Us going into the
I knew
show?
the ending.
You
and
knew,
I know
you
parts
just
of
knew that
2.
he was gonna
Yes,
shoot up the hospital
I've seen that
and take
scene.
Ellie.
I've seen that scene played.
Okay.
But my takeaway from the difference from the game, at least for me, from the show, is that when you're playing it, you're sort of forced to do all this stuff, right? You're forced to kill and rescue Ellie, but it's because Joel doesn't have a choice. If you understand Joel's character, that's what Joel would do no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think they do a great job of setting that up in the show.
Yeah.
They foreshadow with a few different scenarios where somebody makes a morally gray choice, but it's the right choice for them, regardless of if you're looking at it from an outside perspective, with Nick, Frank, and
Bill and Frank. Yeah,
Bill and Frank. You could make the argument that it was kind of messed up that he killed himself with Frank or Bill. You know what I'm saying? But also that was the right choice for him. You know what I mean? And the show sets up a few different same with Sam and Henry. That's a dark, messed up choice, but the circumstances and the way the world is in that moment, like it's the only choice that seemed right for them. I don't know. So like there's like these like setups of like impossible, difficult decision scenarios that like you're like, damn, I get why he had to do that, or like why he did that, in a way that like it's shown. I think in the video game, like you're playing the guy, so like it hits that way. But like I think the show pulled it off too.
Okay, and then all right, look, so with the Sam and Henry, I mean that was Henry having. I mean Sam's the kid, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Whichever one is the adult. I mean he had to eliminate the kid.
Yep.
What is more selfish about that than those other decisions?
Well, I meant that he also took his own life.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the morally great
Okay.
decision there. Not that he killed the kid.
Okay.
Like he had to do that.
Yeah.
But then, like I think in that process, he was like, I can't.
Yeah, I can't go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To carry that. And I think as like a viewer, you're like, that's like a horrible, terrible thing. But like you empathize with why.
Yeah, and this show, it's funny seeing like people react to this because like in the game, it's a lot less real. You know what I mean? It's a game too. Like that's the one thing about bringing this to video. It like feels more real.
Yeah.
And it feels more morally bad. You know what I mean? Like people, I mean, I don't think people are like. I mean, I don't think there's anyone like, I really, I'd be off the internet so much that like. I don't know what the talk of it is, but I can't. It doesn't seem like there's like a 50-50 split of like people with Joel and people with not with Joel. It's people just enjoying the story for the most part.
I think for the most part too, people are more just like processing that decision.
Yeah.
They're not like trying to say Joel's right or wrong, or the
Yeah.
Fireflies are right or wrong. Because honestly, I saw some good arguments against the Fireflies.
Yeah.
It's like, who's this doctor?
Yeah.
Like, how
That's what
long
I'm
has
saying.
he
They're
been a
like
doctor?
the one girl that's cured. Y'all just gonna kill her
Like
instantly.
and like how fungal infections work.
Yeah.
Like that would not have likely turned out a vaccine for it.
Yeah.
And so then it would have been like for nothing.
Yeah.
And like, shouldn't she get to live out a life for something? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think ultimately what's messed up about the whole scenario is that Ellie gets no say in it.
Yeah.
And like knowing like what's about to happen and like what could come from it, and like
Yeah.
she doesn't get to make that decision. Like the Fireflies make it for her, and Joel makes it for her.
I do think there's something to say about the game. You really spend time with Ellie. In the
Well,
game.
I mean, in this show too, I think Bella Ramsey like did
Oh, she
like
phenomenal.
just like her humor and the interactions between Joel and Ellie were just perfect. Pedro and Bella killed it.
No, they nailed it. I just all I'm saying is that in the game you do get to spend a lot more time with them too.
Yeah. Well, and
know-
like the other part about the game too is you are them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
are. It's not like you're watching them live it. Like you are living it with them
Yeah.
or as them.
But it is a cutscene based game too, so there is a lot of watching too as well. But I just there is something about like in the game it's almost like the ending of it is all and maybe I was younger and more naive, playing it, but it's almost more undeniably the right choice. You know what I mean? In this it is a little bit like harder to say it's the right choice, but it's also there's good arguments on both sides, but it's with the show it's easier to have the conversation on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the game you do feel a little bit more like, oh fuck no. There's just something more with it all.
Yeah. Well, I
You know,
think part of
even,
it is
like-
because like you do it. Like you're the one that pulls the trigger.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe. But I feel like even just the getting to Philly or getting or wherever it is, like is it Philly they're going to? I forget where they're going.
No, it's like
Pittsburgh?
Utah.
No. Okay.
Isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, Salt Lake City or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Because they have to go out. They go up and then down.
Yeah. Either
Um,
way, when you get there, there's just like eerie feelings too. There's just all this shit that starts to like change. You know what I mean? And then there's like
Well,
more
like
of
it's kind of interesting because like in terms like of a video game, like
Yeah.
usually you get into the end like you're about to have the big boss fight,
yeah.
and like
But all right, and we're jumping too, because that's why I wanted to start with Sam and Henry and
Oh,
work our
sorry.
way up too, because I mean honestly, all right, yeah. To go back a little bit, yeah. Let's slow down. I'm sorry. To go back a little bit after Sam and Henry, like that episode ends. Or what is the next episode?
And like they even set up like there's even the Sam and Henry thing to even go on back to like foreshadowing stuff. The Yellow Jacket, the lady from Yellow
Yeah.
Jackets, like her decision to chase after Sam and Henry was also another gray decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I get it, they killed your brother, and like
Yeah.
you are like a leader of this community rebellion thing, and
That's the other thing too. It's like,
but
how-
also why are you going after Sam and Henry? There's
yeah. But also, it's like, why, you know, it's like, yeah, look at everybody in this fucking world. It's like, you know, why is Joel got to be the only one that's the moral leader? I'm
Yeah.
just kidding, you know what I
yeah.
mean? But like,
That's, I mean, honestly, and not to keep jumping, but like, you know, for the first half, you're like, all right, you guys keep talking about this Joel guy being a morally questionable man. And then you get to the episode where he wakes up from being sick and he just like is torturing the dudes and just like pow, pow, pow. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it now.
no, I mean, honestly, from the jump, like, he, you know, and Sarah was looking at, he hit the grandma quick on the first episode. He was running people over from the jump. Like, he was willing to shoot people day one. You know what
Well,
I mean?
I think the one moment that he hesitated
I know.
Yeah.
Of course. That cost him everything. So that definitely
he's like,
That definitely
I gotta
made-
be 100% from now on.
that made him willing to shoot. But even before that, he was willing to run over some people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? To get the fuck out of a situation. And
Yeah.
and that's like, I just remember seeing that and being like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Like already off the bat, he's ready. But like, but no. So yeah. So it ends with Sam and Henry, and when they walk away from that, that's when. Wait, no, they have the run in. And that's how Joel gets stabbed. Is that right after Sam and Henry?
No.
Is there a whole episode after Sam and Henry before that run-in where Joel gets stabbed and then that turns into that winter?
Yeah. They go to, there's 2 episodes, I think.
There's not 2.
Maybe 1.
Sam and Henry is like 4 and 5.
Sam and Henry, then
And
they
then
go
it's
to
6.
they go to see his brother.
Oh yeah.
Then they get to see his brother. Then they leave from
Yeah.
there, and then he gets stabbed at the end of that episode.
Oh yeah. That's that whole episode, and he was gonna send her with Tommy, and
He's like, nope, I'll go.
yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, okay.
I think like in general, one of my only complaint is like the lack of zombies in the last half,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
yeah.
Like, they from the get go, the show is clear that it's not about the zombies; it's about the people.
Yeah. Someone brought up there's like 2 things you can always pick up off the ground, and it's bricks and bottles, and you can throw them to distract clickers and shit like that. And someone said, yeah, it's fucked up that these weren't included in the game.
Yeah, but they did give you when I was watching with people who play the game, and when they did the ladder thing in the last episode, people were like,
You're still jumping. You're
sorry.
You're jumping because that's my favorite moment. That might be
Okay.
one of my favorite moments in the whole show. But yeah, you're right. But what do you think about when it came to the winter time? Like that whole shit is so crazy. Like that
Dude,
whole
I was
moment
so
in the
nervous.
game is so insane, like so intense. Whenever it's like when he falls off that damn horse, and then you're like, "Fuck, it's up to Ellie now."
Yeah.
Like, and that's like, and it seems like it in the game. You definitely like. I don't know, the time jump, like she spent a winter, you know, like there was like it was some time that she spent.
Well, it was kind of wild because then she's using all the stuff that Joel taught her, and I know that's the time that you start to get to play as her,
Yeah,
and that's cool. And then, honestly, some of the most fucked up shit was that episode where
Dude.
like she's running in with those.
that's the boss fight right there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we were talking about the boss fight, but that bar scene is the boss fight of the game, if you
Yeah.
ask me. And like that part of the story, yeah, because you're playing as Ellie, you're going through this thing, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
And there's like this setup too, because you run into like, and I keep referring to it as his brother's town. I refer to it as the Hallmark Village of The Last of Us. Because
Just
it
the
is
happy
kind of,
place,
it is
yeah.
like so happy and like it's Christmas time. But like you see that and you're like, okay, so like maybe there are people out there that have their own little societies that are working out.
yeah.
And you're like, maybe this guy is chill, even though he's giving me weird vibes from the jump on these like rations. I was like, I know what you're. I instantly was like, this is not good.
Yeah.
But yes, that all of that was like intense and scary, and she handled it well for the most part.
Yeah.
And it was cool that the one guy, the voice of Joel, was
Was he the bad guy?
He was the brother or whatever.
Okay. I knew he was in it, and I just didn't recognize which person he was. And
Yeah, he gets like
and Ellie's voice actor played her mom for
And
the
that was
last episode.
awesome.
Um,
Not to jump.
yeah, that was me. My bad.
But we're getting there.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting there.
But no, but that bar scene literally is so like I don't know if you've seen any of those clips of the game,
I have only seen like little comparisons now.
but it's so vividly like fuck. You feel like you're like this is the best video game adaptation.
Well, that dude was just yelling and freaked out, and it's like a slow reveal on his character. Like you kind of get weird vibes from him, and then it's like, oh shit, he's a cannibal.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, he's a cannibal pedophile.
Yeah.
Oh shit, he's a cannibal pedophile murderer, and he's
Yeah.
coming for her.
Yeah.
And you're like, Ellie.
Girl.
Please.
Fucking buck up right now. You got this.
And she really
Yeah.
bucks up, and you're like, oh, Ellie, wait. And then like, Joel just like grabbing her right after that, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, they both just did some like crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
at least they're together now.
Yeah. I guess here's where my complaint comes in. I don't like the jump from that to the final episode. It feels very quick into the ending of it.
I'll give you that. Because when I was watching it, one of my takeaways was like, damn, like there's been a really sudden switch. Like Ellie is very quiet and like very solemn, and Joel is like, I'm gonna tell you everything about my life now, just right now. And I guess like that makes sense too. And I've been in moments like that too, where like suddenly like you like feel good to open up, and you're just like, this feels so good, I'm just gonna keep opening up.
Yeah. I do think that there's a sense of like, because I think he really opens up after the hospital incident. There is that sense of he's noticing her distance before that, but after the hospital, that's when he wants to talk about Sarah. That's when he wants to talk about everything for real. But I think that is like a sense of like, you know, oh fuck, now that like there's this secret, I have to keep you as close as I can, and like I know this is gonna do that, you know, like
Yeah.
and she can sense that too. Like they really pulled that off well, like her sense of like not believing it, you know what I mean? Just her being able to like ask that question of like, you know, what the fuck happened? But
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because they're having that conversation before the hospital, and he's like, essentially like, I found my purpose again, and like, in his mind is like his purpose is making sure that Ellie lives a full, long, wonderful life, but like, Tess was like, and everybody was intending for his purpose to be get Ellie to the hospital, but if like you find your purpose and you lose it again,
yeah,
I get the tensions and the struggles.
yeah.
As a video game player, how did you think the adaptation worked?
So good, and we're there now. I guess I guess we can always come back to the Storm Reed episode, but like the ladder scene is, and I think I brought it up on the pod. Maybe I didn't bring it up in the pod, but I brought it up in real life. But I was waiting for the giraffe scene.
Yeah,
The whole time, like the giraffe scene was.
it was awesome.
I'm like, if they don't put the fucking giraffe in this show, I'm gonna be upset.
And like I didn't know I was watching if they were real or fake or not. But the one thing I was like, she's feeding that thing. It's real. Like
Yeah.
there's no how would you make that?
Yeah.
You'd have to edit the grass in her hand into the. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That technically would just be like a lot of.
I mean,
animation.
something could clamp onto it and pull it out, and you could probably like edit.
Probably, but it wouldn't. I don't know. It just looked so real, and then I was like, "Oh my god, it was real."
Yeah,
Oh.
everyone was like, "Oh, this giraffe's fake as hell," and then like that photo came out. Yeah,
My first thought as a non-video game player was like, "Damn, are they about to ride these things?"
yeah.
They didn't ride them.
But the ladder scene is very crucial because that is the game. You know, just the, like throwing Ellie
They
up.
throw it out, she drops the ladder, and you can climb up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that moment too, specifically where she's like, she's like a kid throughout it the whole time, where she's just kind of like goofy. That's part of Ellie's charm, is that like she just has fun during all this like tragic shit sometimes. Like,
Yeah, just loves to pull out the puns.
yeah, and then like, but when she drops the ladder, you know what I mean? And it's just like, holy shit, you got to see this, and then run, and you're like, fuck, like you have to like get to her quick, and then it's the goddamn giraffe, and you're like, oh my god, like the fact that they did that was beautiful.
And it was like one last beautiful moment, and she gets the little line about the view again, and you're like, damn.
And even like I think like going back to the bar scene like that, just comparing that to the video game, like it's like holy shit, like you couldn't ask for anything. Like really like if you think about this right, if you think about a lot of video game stuff, like most of it, you know how most of it was really bad for a long time. You know, like I think Detective Pikachu did all right. It could have done a lot better, but it was like an all right like video game adaptation in a way, but it's not even, I never even played that game, so it's like it's not like they did Red,
Yeah.
Red and Blue, like the movie, like
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a way, like Pokemon the anime is a video game adaptation.
true, but
You know
if
what I
they did
mean?
like a live
Yeah. But I
action
know
of
what you
it.
mean. I know what
But
you
like
mean.
the live action shit, like I mean, I'm trying to even think about like what other ones they've done. Like what ones have they done that have been like terrible?
Video game ones.
Yeah.
Oh man. Like wasn't Resident Evil?
Yeah,
recently?
okay, yeah. So there's a lot of those and like I don't even I don't know those games and I don't know, but it seems like movies just tended to like not include shit from the games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just as simple as that. They
Yeah.
just wouldn't
Well,
include cool shit from the games.
I think part of it too is that like The Last of Us is a great video game.
Yeah.
Like it just like it's perfect for it.
True. I was thinking about that too. It's just I mean this game is a movie. That's how you would describe this game 10 years ago
But
when you
then,
play
like,
it
you
for the first
also-
time.
Now that I'm thinking about it, you look at and same video game company and like should be same level of deliverability. Uncharted didn't hit as well.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think Uncharted had some good cues to the video games, but
Yeah, dude, it was funny seeing like a video from the Oscars, and it's like not like any publication camera, just somebody's iPhone. It's Pedro walking through, and you could just see all the male actors like turning and like giving him like not a side eye, but like being like, oh, he's the big man in the room now.
I saw someone's tweet being like, "How the hell you expect me to watch Pedro on the Oscars right now, knowing damn well he's shooting up a hospital on HBO Max at this same moment?"
Well, but to be fair, like 95% of the people he shot were soldiers, but then that
Yeah,
the doctor was not a soldier, but he threaten him with a scalpel.
yeah.
You
So
know, I don't think that'll be important though in the next season. I don't think that'll matter.
to go back to even the adaptation thing, like the Storm Reed episode though, gotta talk about that a little bit.
Which one is that?
You know,
Who's Storm Reed?
the girl from Euphoria, Zendaya's sister,
Oh my gosh, why?
Riley.
I just completely forgot about that episode.
Riley.
I completely forgot about that episode. Dude, it's crazy to me that they made a set. It's funny that we're talking about this in this order because this is the real video game order. We're talking about the DLC now.
Yeah, I know. Well, I want to do this before because I do want to like really talk about the ending.
I saw somebody said something like Storm Reed's always playing like a character like watching I think what'd they say? Something like yelling and going crazy around, and they like showed a clip of like Ellie bashing it up, and then like Zendaya like bashing up the house, and she's just like sitting in a room.
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy, amazing that they made a whole set for them all. Like
Yeah.
that set was incredible.
Yeah, and it's just people haven't tried it, but that's like a very specific vibe too of like the 2003 arcade mall.
Yes.
Like that's a very specific thing. That is like the like mid to late 90s arcade like
Foot Locker.
neon. Like the noise of it too was very like I'm like they had to have just like really studied footage of like 90s like arcade,
Yeah.
like I mean, of course they did, but like just the sound of it, I'm like, wow, this is like very distinctive. Like,
Part of me feels like they pulled off that whole set too because they were able to be like, "Yo, Victoria's Secret, you want to pay us a little bit?"
you were mentioning that on an old pod
Yeah,
about Eight
it was-
Crazy Nights
yeah.
and like, yeah, and I remember being like talking about Starbucks and HBO because I'm like they got a serious problem, but that was funny seeing that like all the old stores and
Yeah,
shit. And
they had a GameStop. They had all those fast food places.
I'm surprised they didn't put like EB games in it. That would have
Yeah.
been sick if they
Dude,
did that.
it would have been funny if it would have been a Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford the Spirit Halloween.
But yeah, but that episode was great. Them doing like the DLC to it, like, and giving. I like the two flashback episodes.
They're good.
It really.
It builds the world, and it like makes you have a perspective on like what it would have been like to grow up in this world, and like feel nostalgic for like the things we take for granted.
Yeah. Yeah, and they just had to try to break your heart one more time before the final.
They did.
Ending.
They really just like they gave us some amazing, like, gay relationships, and then they just took them from us each time over and over again. And it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Apparently, Nick Offerman's wife refers to him as Episode 3 at home.
Mega Mullane. Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, I was rewatching Ashes, like rewatches of those, and just like reliving the show already after it. And I'm like, oh my god, this show.
It was awesome. I mean, like, and it had a lot of crossover. Like, people watched it more than House of Dragons.
Yeah.
And that's wild. HBO's on an impressive run right now.
But so to finish off the ending of it, the hospital, apparently there's some figures that got out.
Really?
Yeah, implying, like there's proof that other Fireflies were in there that survived, that got away. And then of course they had to zoom in on Doctor's head.
Yeah. I don't think he's important though, right? Like, he's just
he's important.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I know who the Doctor is.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll leave it as a mystery for our viewers that haven't played it.
Because you don't know the story of part 2, right? You know something. You know a major element of it.
No, I know what happens. I know the story because I've seen a bunch of reviews. I watched Donkeys and Naked JKs.
Damn.
But I'm excited to play it. I don't remember it all the way detailed, and I don't know the people. I don't know all the full details. I just know some of them.
You be like, you want to avoid spoilers of certain movies, but
I never thought
that's like one of the greatest stories ever.
I never
told.
thought that. Well, I don't think the spoilers take away of how good the story is and how much I appreciate the story.
True, but you don't get to experience it in full and just like unknowing. I play. Well, I don't. Maybe I talked about this, but I played through that game, and I had just played Last of Us Part 1 like a week before Part 2 came out during COVID. It was just COVID, just sitting at home playing games, and then Part 2 comes out, and I started playing it, and I literally played it. Ian and Nick watched it. We had other people over, like.
Dude, it's kind of interesting because I've heard like multiple people be like, "Yeah, it was COVID," and I just like played through 1, then I had to play through 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, this was a lot of people's COVID game."
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. I mean, yeah. It was a COVID release, so it makes sense. But like the first one, I beat it in like 15 hours, and then I'm like 15 hours into the first one, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, and then you feel like the game just ends.
Yeah.
Well, and then it rushes back to the very beginning of the game, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, you just get to see different perspectives of things.
Yeah. Well, and like, I know that the next part 2 is going to be multiple seasons. They haven't said how many yet. But the one thing that I'll say that I think was interesting, like going back to foreshadowing stuff, like when they're in Kansas City and Joel kills the guy, they're all like, oh my God, Bobby's dead. Or whatever his name is, and then she's like, eventually, a Yellow Jackets lady, like, they killed Bobby. Like, and you get a sense of, like, the deaths matter. And then, like, in the winter season, she's like, yeah, 3 of our guys were out, and one of them got killed by some guy and a girl.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, like, more things coming back to get him.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm sure that there's nothing that's going to come from Joel's actions.
Yeah.
They're going to live in Hallmark land forever. The next is a rom-com.
Dude, in the second game, this has nothing to do with anything, but, like, there's, like, a point where, like, literally, like, some, like, dogs will come after you. You know what I mean? And, like, or, like, a dog specific, and, like, just in the gameplay. Like, this isn't a cutscene or anything. Within the gameplay, like, you hear barking, and, like, you can kill this dog, or you can not kill this dog. You know what I mean? Just like you could shoot everybody, or maybe you can sneak past him, run past him.
Yeah.
But killing that dog just like will bring up like just dialogue and gameplay later on into the game.
That's cool.
And
I'm definitely gonna play both of them.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like the subtle details in the game specifically, like especially in part 2 of just like how shit you play. Like the first part, affects it. Like I don't know, it's very interesting the way they do that.
I feel like it's a one-of-a-kind game.
Definitely.
Speaking of foreshadowing and predictions, how about us foreshadowing and predicting this episode of Abbott Elementary?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to jump from Last of Us.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, I mean, it's about time. We did enough on Last of Us. That's gonna be its own fucking YouTube clip right there. It's just
It's a good one.
yeah, yeah.
That was a great episode. And we definitely called Tariq coming back to do a performance.
Of course.
Amidst the turmoil of Gregory.
Yeah,
I got it right. And Janine's relationship.
I missed it the first time watching it, but I didn't realize. I just realized it now watching like the first half of it again. Like that she brings up calling him, and he tries to turn it down.
Yeah, he gets a little.
Realize,
nervous.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was like. I thought that was like just a secret play he had pulled off at the very end, just out of nowhere. I didn't realize that was like.
It makes the move by him even better. It shows that he's secure.
Yeah.
In who it is, and he knew he had to make the right choice, even if it's not what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Tariq was killing me though.
To help save Ab.
That
shit was so.
When
good.
the charter school guy's
Draymond,
on the stage,
yeah.
and he's like, "No, it's a lottery," and he just goes, "Oh, a lottery! I play the lottery every day, and I've never won." He's treating our children like the Powerball, and he's our children as if he's like has any kids there.
Yeah,
I just love his character so much.
Yeah, he's so good. I just pray that this means he's a mainstay on season 3.
Everybody was like gassing him up at the end, being like, "Thank you for saving us."
Yeah.
I would love if he came back as, like you were saying before, like a counselor.
Yeah.
Or just like some random school figure.
If we can get Zach Fox as a mainstay on that, like that.
I mean, he's low-key has been a mainstay.
I know he
but
is,
not
but
like every episode mainstay.
That's what I'm saying. It was like even like Chris Pratt early in Parks and Recs was like kind of distant, I think. You know, like I don't know if he was a main character early on. Like
I would just love to have like a janitor and Tariq episode.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean?
Janitor, this episode was so funny. He was like, he had a line. He's like, I got 4 pieces of this treasure map. If we could find the other one, we might be good. Like, oh, and yeah, not to just jump around too drastically, but Jacob in this episode, was by far the funniest he's ever been. And
at the end, he goes, "Yeah, I don't think he hates me anymore." And Ava's like, "No, he hates you. How do you know?" "Oh, he told me afterwards. He said I'd still hate him." I was like, "Damn."
I just love when they were like talking about like the new Abbott name. They were like, you know, like blah 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 charter of Abbott, you know, and then Barbara was like, "What in the Lee Daniels?" And then Jacob's like, "Who is Lee Daniels?" And then Siri's like, "What we've pulled up on Lee," and then he's like trying to turn it down and like drops his phone.
He drops it again from the ladder.
Yeah.
The same thing. Who is
Jasmine Sullivan? They were like, yeah, Ava was talking about bringing in Jasmine.
I also love it. She's like, "We're going to throw Ava Fest. You can't call it your own name. A very Abbott Fest." And then the cuts, and she's like, "Abbott Fest is underway planning." It was a good one. It was a solid one. I love seeing that teacher throw the dunk balls at him.
Yeah.
The first one he throws is just like straight at him, not even at the target.
Yeah.
Oh, good episode. And I love that they bring back a lot of the like parents and like relatives to the students.
Mm-hmm.
Like the little conversation between Gregory and Janine's friend.
How you doing?
She's like, "I heard that pause."
Oh, yeah.
Where she's like, "And you're happy about that?"
Yeah, that was funny as hell. When he's trying to like get her to sign the shit outside the car. But and his ex coming back, April.
Yeah.
How you doing, April? I'm good. Cute. You?
I see you got your bag.
Yeah.
She's like, "Let's make this about the children."
Yeah.
That was a good one. I hope that wasn't the season finale.
Nope, there's one more.
Just one more.
One more. That was 19.
That's sad.
But either
Give me
way,
a fucking break, buddy.
either way, it's been
a good run.
Phenomenal season.
Yeah.
A long season. 20 episodes. All
good.
Yeah, I mean,
Good or great.
I was gonna say pretty much since like the Halloween episode, like number 4 or 5. I'm like, wow, these have just all been like.
Yeah, I think the Halloween is still my favorite of the season. It's up there.
I don't know. They've had a few since then that I think are subtle. Like I just think like on the rewatch because like I don't know. It's just
Some of
these
sometimes the episodes where like not a lot of stuff is actually happening plot wise.
yeah, but it's like just the writing of it is so damn hilarious that like 3 lines in it are just so funny that you're like, wow, like
Yeah.
it just
And the characters have all grown a little bit in their own ways, which is nice.
yeah.
It's been a good run.
Yeah, I'm about to pop on. I got that DVD of season 1. I'm about to rewatch season 1 soon.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
much shit
I'm gonna
to
run back
watch.
season 2 now that it's almost all out.
Yeah, I just have Hulu with ads, and it just is so annoying.
Yeah, I get that.
But you know what doesn't have ads?
What doesn't?
Apple TV.
Nice.
You know what Apple TV has?
Shrinking.
Yeah, but
Severance.
but
After Party.
shut up.
I don't know if there's any other shows on it. What are you thinking of?
Dude, you watched it, right?
Servant?
You watched it, right?
It comes out this week, right?
You watched it, right? Don't play with my heart.
Shrinking?
You watched it, right?
Yeah, what's the new episode of Shrinking this Friday?
They do that weekly?
Yeah,
Really?
on Fridays.
Damn. I'm not going to watch that shit till it's out then.
I think he only has one more episode left.
Sick. I'll watch that shit soon then.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good show.
I don't want to talk about Shrinking, though.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the man, the myth, the legend.
Jamie Tate.
No, not him. My man, Ned Lasso.
Ned Lasso.
Ned Lasso. He called himself a Ned Flanders cosplay in this episode.
He did. That was funny.
So you did watch it.
Ah, damn it. No, I was gonna act like I did. I was trying to bait you into be like, so did you watch Ted Lasso? And I was gonna say, oh my god, I thought it comes out next week.
Yeah, no, I'm not falling for it. You better have watched Ted
Yeah,
Lasso.
I watched it twice.
New episode of Ted Lasso out now.
40-minute.
Season 3 is back. This
I
is
got
it.
a little nervous going into it because there was like it might have been New York Times, Rolling Stone was like Ted Lasso 3 coming out, and it's like full of things we don't like, and I was like, what?
Like what?
I don't know. I didn't read the article because I didn't want it to spoil. Then I watched the episode and I was like, what are they talking about? This is literally just like, I mean, like at times maybe the characters felt like a little bit obvious, but it's the first episode of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was like it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times like the opener episode of a new season like should be really like, you know, flashy, just being you know what I mean?
Like you think about last season, it starts off with the dog and the penalty kick.
Yeah, that was a good opener. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, that's a good, you know, and it's like pilot episodes are never gonna like start off with like a bang, but they usually set up good foundations.
Yeah.
But then it's like, yeah, season 2, you know, like opener should always be like, should be flashy, and I'll give it that. It's maybe not a flashy opener, but I do love the fact that they're kind of setting them like, you know, it's like they just lose. Like that's what they do. They lose. They're not winners necessarily, and they're still not like to where I'm assuming like, all right, they got to win this season, but they're still setting them up to lose, which I enjoy.
Yeah, I also think that they did they're intentionally setting up something with how they started this episode, and it's like the overarching theme or plot of Ted Lasso, you know, like with his son.
Yeah.
And him being like, fuck, I want to be back with my son.
Yeah.
And like he's kind of felt like that since the first episode. And I feel like this will be his like conclusion on, like the whole season will wrap up his divorce. And
Yeah.
maybe he's going back. I don't know. It foreshadows some like tension there, and that's like why maybe he's a little bit checked out as a coach. And not that he was fully checked out, but like he doesn't have that like, I'm gonna win it all.
Yeah. Season 3 100% is ending with him at the airport.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They started out season 2 zooming in on Nate as on the field, and
Yeah.
they ended it zooming out of Nate.
Yeah, and they do the thing with they end it with, you know, like Nate walking out, but also they wrap up. They have Danny shoot a penalty kick and he scores it and they win, and they go to the premiere. You know what I'm saying? Like that was also in that episode. So they do like a lot of like
Yeah.
wrapping up. So I feel like they're setting that up. I hope, and not to jump around, but I think that what's their name should get back together.
Yeah, that one threw me off.
Yeah.
I will say that one threw me off. But then it's like, yeah, they're clearly setting it up to like. Yeah, I don't understand that arc yet. But yeah, they're not gonna stay broken up.
Yeah, the little girl's kind of like she was
Yeah.
funny about it.
Yeah, Phoebe.
She was like, my parents were divorced. So if there's one thing I've learned, it's like to expect. I forget what she said, but it was a funny response for a kid. And Nate was kind of vicious. Like,
Yeah.
he came out swinging. Like he was putting up a fight. It's not like he's no threat.
Yeah, but so I watched this video about Nate as like a character.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting, and like, it just is like crazy, like. Yeah, just like seeing, but like I don't know, the video is also interesting too because it's like Nate. I I think Nate is Ted's last coaching goal.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong because he's still wrestling with a lot of. At first, like you think he's caught on to the Ted Lasso method, but then like he lets his insecurities like rule over him, and you notice it in this episode, like the things that he's still hurt about, like he treats the players like shit because he's still hurt that they bullied him,
Yeah.
and he treats Ted Lasso like shit for like the similar reasons.
Yeah.
I think that he's gonna. Cause you remember when Ted Lasso gave him his suit
Yeah.
and how that made him feel?
Yeah, that video brought up so much shit that I didn't realize. Like
I think he's gonna have some kind of freak out about the car. Cause you know how he freaked out about a suit.
Yeah.
This is a nice car.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna be like, the car Rupert bought you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be interested to hear more about that video.
The video's great. It's just a good breakdown of his character, and it just talks about. It also like is kind of like, while not just like assassinating him as a character, it's like talks about how like like there is something great in him, and Ted sees that in first season, and brings him up, and he is a good coach, and he does do a lot, and he does care, and so ultimately the end of this video too just like was like a cool conclusion of like, if once like Nate gets past his insecurities and all that, you know what I mean, and is like comfortable with who he is as a person, like he will be like one of the greatest, and like he will be stronger than a lot of people, like because he has so much on this other end, you know what I mean, while being like brought down so much on one, like
Yeah. I mean, like you even see it reflected in how Roy feels about having to fill his shoes. Like Roy is nervous that he won't live up to what Nate was doing in some of this episode. Like he's nervous
I didn't
about
catch
his.
that. Yeah.
He like I forget when he doesn't like break down, but he has like a nervous moment where he's like, I'm just really stressed out that like he's like I'm taking on a new role. I forget who he's talking to about that, but he's like I'm taking on a new role. Like I don't know, blah blah blah. It might have been with Keeley.
Yeah, I didn't catch on to that. I do want to rewatch the episode though again already, but
Yeah, there was when I rewatched it, there was a few things that I caught on to.
so you've seen it twice already?
Yeah, but not closely enough the second time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I caught was just like the kid being like, "Not excited to go back from the political landscape," and he's like, "Yeah, I leave CNN like on." I didn't catch that line.
Yeah, I got that.
It was interesting hearing a little bit of Nintendo talk.
What?
Because the one airline lady was like, "Yeah, one time I held up a flight because I wanted to finish Breath of the Wild."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay, we're dropping Nintendo now."
Yeah, not to steer off too much, but on Conan O'Brien this week, the girl from Japanese Breakfast was on, or Japanese House. I can't call me stupid for not realizing what band it is, but
Japanese Breakfast.
yeah, but is that led by a girl?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Korean girl?
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle something.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on Conan O'Brien this week, his podcast, because Conan's daughter took Conan to fucking
The gong thing.
Coachella or something. Yeah. And was like, and then was playing him music and not telling him the bands before, and he was like, yo, I like this band, and it was Japanese Breakfast, and he became like a huge fan of her. I'm like, that's so cool. Like Grant, like I'm like, I just don't like, I don't know if she's on Conan if that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's just kind of like a cool crossover for her. Like there's not many musical guests that aren't like Jack White or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
And she's really cool too.
Yeah.
It's like her energy was bouncing off of him nicely.
Yeah, no, it was a funny ass. You listened to some of it? You saw
Yeah, I
clips?
saw that clip. Because then
Okay.
he's like, and then I saw you hit the gong, and you would run over and just hit the gong, and I was thinking, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
I could have made a joke and run over and hit the gong and then come back.
Yeah, that you should listen to that whole interview. It's great.
I definitely should. I love Japanese breakfast.
But she was talking about playing Stardew Valley and I'm
That's
just
lit.
like, oh my god! I'm like, why am I listening to Conan and this girl talk about Stardew Valley right now? And
Yeah.
she's talking about like, she was like getting into depth about like Stardew Valley, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like I haven't even heard anyone talk about it, and then it's like every podcast I know also is like talking about Avril Lavigne and Tyga, and I'm just like, why is like Joe Budden talking about Avril Lavigne so much, and like Rory and Mal and like
Simulation,
yeah,
baby.
I'm like everybody's talking about Avril Lavigne right now. This is weird.
You were always there though. You were always talking about Avril.
Yeah.
I not to jump back into Ted Lasso.
No, please do.
But I loved. It was nice to see like compared to like season 1, Ted's speech. He was like very much so under control and knew what he was doing.
Yeah, no, this 2 speeches were great.
And then I also just I liked him taking him down to the sewer. It was kind of funny, even though it was like weird and random.
I love the two workers. They were like, "Is that Roy Kent?" And then it was like, "Roy." And he was like,
Fuck off.
Yeah, he was like, "Fuck off." And then he was like, "Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Roy."
that's right.
Yeah.
Jamie was like, "Oh, we're like poopy.
Yeah.
We're just the poopy.
let it flow.
Just let it flow."
Just let it flow.
Oh, it's funny to think that he's like the voice of reason now.
I
like,
know.
compared to season 1.
I know. I'm like watching it with Paige like season, and we're like still like only in season 1 to where like she only knows Jamie as a dick. She still loves Nate, and then I'm like, oh, I can't wait for you to see like Jamie's transition too, like the most. I'm like, especially seeing the starting of season 3 with him and that.
I would love to see them, like, the plot go that they win a bunch, and they just like stay humble about it, and it just pisses Nate off.
And Rupert.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another element of this season that's starting off is what's her name is fierce. Rebecca is back fierce and mad, and she's kind of being a little prickly to Ted again. Like she was like,
I feel like she feels like she's on the cusp of getting her full revenge, and like, I don't know, like you could see that like she feels secure, but also like it's something's rumbling underneath.
Yeah, but she's getting a little irritated again, and like yeah, I don't know why she's driven so hard again. Maybe we'll find out more, but
Probably because Rupert's going so hard again.
True.
Well, and like the element of like she finally beat him last season, like not beat him, but like proved him wrong because they won. But now, after like she proved him wrong that they won, he was like, "All right, well, I'll just go buy a Premier League team and send you right back down."
Do you think they're gonna win for real? I kind of don't think they're gonna win.
I think they'll get close. And there's ways to pull it off. Like, there's a lot of really good sports movies where, like, they don't win, but, like...
They win at heart.
And everybody acknowledges the fact that, like, it was like, damn, it's crazy that, like, you guys even did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see... That's what I think is going to happen. They're gonna win, but also Nate is going to maybe even, like... I don't know, like, somehow, like, be on, like, the last game, like, be on, back on... You know what I mean? Their side
like,
somehow.
Or like, what if Nate ends up being Richmond's coach? Like, and Ted leaves.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, all right. We're definitely making that clip if we predicted this one. We're definitely making that clip.
Oh, that would make me feel good all around.
Yeah.
I also love when they just squeeze in, like... Because, like, they will squeeze in, like, technical sports talk, too. He's like, I think we should do a 4-4-2. And I feel like he's like, you know what that means? He's like, and Ted knows now. I feel like Ted plays down how much he actually knows about soccer at this point.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the old Ted Lasso clip?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
I rewatched one of them today. Or
it's
like
pretty
not
much
today.
like the first episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's great how much they took from it, but also how different it is.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it definitely is elevated, and like that character wasn't the exact same. But yeah.
Yeah, and like it's honestly, apparently he even before filming that clip had been working on this character in Amsterdam doing stand-up.
That's funny.
Like 6 years before that clip even came out.
That's funny.
It's just like one of those testimonies to like how far an idea could go.
Yeah.
And if like you just keep, like watering that seed.
Yeah, definitely.
And now it's one of the biggest TV shows. I'm pumped that it's back. Like when that theme song kicked, I was like, let's go.
I thought you were gonna be like, speaking of watering the seed.
Speaking of watering the seed, I don't know where that goes. I feel like we have one more show to talk about.
Ted Lasso.
Look,
Last of Us, Swarm.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. God damn it. I mean, we mentioned it, so then it made me like feel like we already talked about it. Fucking Swarm. I made you watch episode 1.
I'm glad you made me watch it.
Right before the pod. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be a hit. I think it already kind of is a little bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting they dropped it all at once. The internet's already kind of buzzing around about it. No pun intended. I had no idea what I was getting into. And I'm I'm very, very interested to see where it goes.
They did a really good job of that. I a few weeks ago or like a month ago, I posted those clips or those screenshots on the Movie Club Twitter. Follow us, Movie Club the podcast at Movie Club the podcast. But I posted those Twitter. Actually, we're also going to do this thing this week where we have a poll for the movie we're gonna watch next.
Yes.
Side note, but I posted those photos, and there was one photo with blood in it, where she's like mopping up blood, and you're like, "What the fuck are we about to get into?" But then you just think Atlanta, like, okay, like maybe someone falls off and busts their head open, and they just die in some weird way.
Maybe it's
you know?
like a cow gets split open.
Yeah, you never
and,
fucking know what's gonna happen in Donald Glover land. You
Yeah.
know, like
and that was definitely my main takeaway from this. It felt like the lessons that he gained and the wisdom that he gained from doing Atlanta, like translated directly into this, in like a new perspective and tone.
yeah.
That feels like it's like a growing off of Atlanta versus like just another Atlanta.
I've said it before on here, and I'm gonna say it again until it happens. But I want a Donald Glover movie so bad.
Yep, me too.
Like I want to see him condense into like an hour and a half, 2 hours, because this is 4 hours of content total. You know, it's 7 episodes, like 30 minutes. So it's like 3.5 to 4 hours of content. Like this as a movie could work. You know what I mean? Like
You just have to cut out a few scenes.
yeah,
just rework a few things.
I really don't think this is gonna have a season 2.
Yeah, I mean that.
I really hope it doesn't. Personally,
Yeah, I'd almost rather them move on to like a new project.
yeah, yeah, and that'd be cool if he just develops this little relationship with Prime and just like does a little bit more, like maybe even like a 2-season show. You know what I mean? But I want more smaller shit. This better not have a second season.
Yeah, I'm excited. It seems really interesting. I love the idea that they're like, it is intended to be based on real people. Like, if you think we're making the connections, we
Yeah,
are.
we are. Yeah.
Oh.
They do. Yeah, I can't wait for you to see. I can't wait. I hope. I'm sure once you start it, for like once you watch another episode, you'll.
Oh, I'm
probably,
definitely gonna watch more tonight.
You'll probably end up finishing it. Like
That's awesome. I mean, like the ending of this episode led me just to be like, all right, I want to know what happens.
I do think it's it's funny because it is like similar to like Poker Face in a sense of just like and not to spoil anything, but the next episode just starts off and she's just like I think just in a different town. They don't even really explain it, but she's just kind of just kind of like a little time, like a tiny time jump.
I'm with that.
And it's just kind of
Sometimes I think less is more, and they did that a lot in this first episode. Like they never explicitly be like, "Yo, this happened. You are correct." It's more like implied stuff, even like
Yeah.
the bigger plot points.
Yeah, even with Chloe Bailey.
Yeah, exactly. But great first episode. You got me pumped to watch the rest of it.
It's so good. I started it last night and then immediately woke up this morning and was like, I have to finish that.
Yeah,
I haven't binge watched a show in so long. Like,
yeah. Speaking of having to finish something and having to get something done and having to
There
do
you
something
go.
no matter what. Should we talk about the movie this week?
Yeah, let's do that.
Nailed it.
What do you mean by that? Give me a fucking break, buddy.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
You're just on a roll lately, Stevie, with movies that you've been talking about for a long time.
I'm checking them off the list. No
Yeah,
more procrastinating.
Next up is The Prestige, right?
Probably. It probably will be. Yeah.
And then besides that, I can't even think of I mean, I want to see The Fablemans. You've been talking about that for the last month or two. A lot.
Once you're able to watch that,
I'm gonna watch that on my own. We'll talk about. We'll make a
I'm
little.
sure it'll come to streaming too at some point.
Yeah.
But that was. I looked up. I was like, can we watch this movie for free? I don't know if you ended up watching.
I
it for
rented
free.
it on
Okay.
YouTube.
It's
just
also
because
a cheaper rent. Like it's
Yeah.
not the $6.99, which is nice.
I rented it on YouTube just so I could watch it on my TV because I pulled it up for a second and then I was like, nah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was thinking, I'm like, I can maybe pull it up on here, but I'm like,
Yeah. You could. I Chromecasted it. That's what I did.
okay.
But the movie this week was American Movie.
American Movie.
It's a documentary, although sometimes it feels like a mockumentary.
Yeah, honestly, I walked away with this of like, I want to write a mockumentary.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and like I don't know. This is so. I found this movie because Justin Vernon of Bon Iver had like tweeted about it, being like it was one of his favorite movies, and I was like, I'd never heard about this. And then I watched it. And it's like a mixture of like inspiring and like
I feel like Kevin
heartbreaking.
Abstract has talked about this movie before.
Probably it makes sense.
Yeah.
And like it's like heartbreaking, but also like hilarious and like heartwarming and motivating and like about the American dream.
I don't know about for you too, but like aesthetically, time-wise, like this is very vivid to me. My dad was a huge Green Bay Packers fan. That stuck out to me as his subtle, like, he didn't talk about Green Bay Packers, but he always wore Green Bay Packers shit. And then there was just that one Super Bowl, you know, like the 97 Super Bowl where they're watching the Green Bay Packers. And I don't know, I mean, were they in Wisconsin? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured they were because the mom was like, yeah, the
And that's why it's
Packers
like
won.
always cold.
Yeah. But yeah. It was just very vividly the house, like the settings that they were in.
The
I'm like,
clothing.
yeah, you know, I'm like, holy shit, this is like the start of boyhood to me. You know what I mean? Just very vividly, like, I don't know.
It felt like nostalgic for like the aesthetic I remember from childhood.
Yeah.
It's also funny because like I feel like the fashion is kind of relevant again now
Yeah, definitely.
in some ways. But do you want to give the synopsis of the movie?
So it's about this guy who he's like a movie maker and a dad, and I guess these people started filming their documentary on him when he started seking funding for Coven, whatever you want to call it. But there was also like a lot of, you know, he like had a lot of talks about this other movie, Northwestern or Northwest.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it was just about him like trying to finish up this short film Coven and make that, and it was very interesting, yeah, too. And it was just, yeah, it ended up being like it was like 3 years he worked on that short film, but it was like a year this documentary took place, like a year or two.
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, so at least half the time that the movie was being made, like the second half up until the release, and it's wild too, because it's like people are like, you know, it's like all the sit down interviews, people are like talking about like, yeah, and if he goes to make this Northwest movie, you know what I mean, or his next movie, you know, it's like all these interviews were taken, like, and nothing still, like, it's like almost still at the same place it was at the beginning of it, like.
Yeah. Well, because like he eventually ends up deciding Northwestern is his like feature film, and he ends up deciding he needs to make a short film to get the buzz going, so that he can get funding to make his feature film.
So he has his math all. He has
Yeah.
to make 3,000. He has to sell 3,000 units at $14.95.
Yeah.
You know, and
Dude, and I love his DIY spirit, and it's like way before like the internet DIY scene, but like this guy was like a pioneer in some ways.
oh yeah,
Despite like, I mean, like he, in my opinion, is successful. I think he does go on to make Northwestern. Like he
no,
made
he
it.
doesn't.
He doesn't.
No, I looked it up. He doesn't. He made
Damn.
one.
Did he make something else after that?
He's made one movie. The Dundee Project is what it's called. And there was another movie that he announced in 2004 that's still in production, just like Northwestern is technically. But no, he only made one movie since then. He's gone on to act into a lot of movies. He's still acting in movies, like, or at least in the last few years he's like up until like 2019 or something he was acting. So he at least has like he's in the movie world, but that's like another cool part about this to me too, is that this is like a documentary about someone who like ultimately just ended up like barely making his way into the movie industry.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and like fighting tooth and nail to try to get into the movie industry.
yeah, you know, and
It's kind of crazy too, because like he never talks about his love of movies, or like the movies that he loves, or like that it inspires him. He's just like, I've got to make this movie.
yeah.
Like I've got to do
Yeah,
it.
he doesn't talk about any movies. He doesn't.
I love like the intro monologue too, where he's like, I've got to do it this time. Like I'm tired of fucking up and screwing around. Like I gotta get to it.
Yeah.
And I love the people that are like down to like help him with his vision. Especially
know.
his best friend Mike
Dude,
is
his buddy
hilarious.
Mike, yeah.
Hilarious.
Apparently, they started a little TV show or some little internet show, like Mark and Mike or whatever. and they've done like Letterman together and like stuff like that, you know. Tori had a little bit of a run, and someone else. There was some other people, you know. What was it like? Some Metallica guys helped do the score of the documentary.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's
it
like
was a
James
cool score. It was a
yeah.
cool. The dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
But yeah, the interactions between him and Mike are amazing.
yeah.
Like where he's like, dude, you totally ripped off that Black Sabbath song. He's like, it's inspiration, man.
Yeah. He's like, no, dude. He's like, have you heard the Black Sabbath song?
And like, I don't know, just like his relentless pursuit of it, despite everything else in his life not going well. It was like, damn, I relate to this on a level that's.
But they also like don't really dwell into his problems too much, which I think is interesting. Like,
Yeah.
they loosely show his relationship stuff. They don't even like he mentions his parents being kind of dysfunctional, but they don't dwell into that at all.
Yeah.
They, you know, his mom just seems amazing, but it is cool seeing. It is cool seeing everybody like come together to help him, and like even when it came to like splicing the movie together, it was like that shit looked crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
and I just love he's like, I'm gonna be here for the next the day. I'm gonna stay overnight. I'm gonna get this done.
him and his kids are like having sleepovers there at the
Yeah,
college.
he's like explaining to them like ADR and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um,
Do you understand it? What don't you understand?
yeah, I like that the movie leads it up to like being more implied about what's going on in the background of his life. Because I think, you know, like people imply that maybe he like drinks pretty heavily, and like parties a lot.
Yeah.
There's that like one scene at the Super Bowl thing though, where he like starts to get really excited, starts cursing a bunch, and the dad's like, "Watch that language," and
Yeah.
like goes back into the other room again.
Yeah.
I also love when Mike is like, he's like, "I won the lottery, but I don't want to tell anybody because
Yeah.
then they're gonna ask me to buy things."
Yeah, and he won like $50 too. Like,
Yeah.
and then like the next day he wins like 200, and it's like, yeah, I won 200.
He's like, "Yeah, but I left a bunch of it at home. I only have $20."
So I'm saying he got smarter. He's like, what do you want to spend this $20 on? He's like, we're going to Jim Mitchell's to get some pictures.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want beer.
Yeah. I also there's like that really wholesome quote where he's like, you know, I don't really like movies that much. They're not my thing, but they're my friend's thing, and I like hanging out with him and getting to do the thing he loves. So
Yeah.
it's cool for me too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a real friend right there.
Yeah, I definitely said "aw" to Mike like a couple times.
Yeah.
There was like another quote too where, yeah, well, there was like just the endless of just like, or it was fucked. It was weird, but said, but he was like talking about the drinking the vodka,
Yeah.
you know, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I just would be in my basement and I'd like to party a lot, and he's like, and I didn't know anybody that liked to party.
And
you
then I
know?
met him, and
Yeah,
he
and then I
likes
met
to party.
Mark, and he came over and he brought a bottle of vodka, or I had a bottle of vodka. One of us had a bottle of vodka, and I just looked over and we were both drinking it, and I thought, I'm so happy right now. This person wants to drink vodka with me, like.
It's
you
like
know?
a very wholesome moment, but also a little bit sad too.
Yeah.
Like you're like, damn, you were pretty lonely.
Yeah, but also it's like that is like, you know, and then even like, you know, I mean, not to like, I don't know how much like the internet has really changed everything, you know, but it's like it seems like, especially like Midwesterns back in that era, like before having cell phones and like the internet and stuff, it's like you're definitely more like stuck to your small town, hometown, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're stuck to what's around you. You know, you think of the world as less big, and even just knowing the world is bigger makes you find more out of your areas too. You know what I mean? To where I feel like back then it was just like, even Mark talking about like trying to explain like his upbringing and talking about everyone just drinking, you know, like it's like, damn, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Midwestern cold winter.
Yeah.
And I to go off that point, it makes me be like, how did he have this drive to be like, I can make a movie on my own. I can do this.
Yeah.
Without having like, I don't know, like the influences of the internet and like seeing that people have done that before. It just like feels like there is so much stacked up against him, and like reasons to not go for it and reasons to think it would be like a foolish waste of time.
Yeah.
But like he does it and he goes for it, and I don't know. It's almost like his pursuit of it is, to me, is what is more inspiring than like the actual. And the film looked good, like on the shots that they show, and the actors really seemed like they loved being a part of it too. There's one guy, he's like, it's pronounced coven. Coven's the word. He's like, coven sounds like oven, so it's got to be coven.
It was funny because I kept hearing "go COVID."
COVID, yeah, I hear that now too. It was cool seeing the behind the scenes footage too, and how he was filming it. Like Like the headshot where he like slams the gun.
It's funny. He banged his head like 4 times into it, and then he really assessed it and was like, "Whoa, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't realize." Like,
Yeah, we got to make this breakable.
yeah.
He's like, I'm actually doing this to you. Like, I'm really hurting you. Oh, oh man. And I love the scream shot where everyone's doing their screams, and then Mike does his scream, and then
That
he's
was
like,
wicked,
"That was
man."
wicked, man." Oh,
I loved Uncle Bill.
yeah. The scene it goes like, "What take was that, Mike? 15," and then it cuts and it's like, "Take 30, go." Jesus is here to save. You like can't get the line down.
Uncle
Oh.
Bill was so good. I was pretty sad when Uncle Bill passed.
Me
man.
too. Me too.
That was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. The picture that he like slides over the picture of the actress. He's like, "This girl might be in your movie," and he's like, "My movie? Wow."
Just the first shot of him going to Uncle Bill's trailer, and they show like just the footage of like the car driving through the trailer park, and it's like perfect green grass and all these brand new trailers in this like road, and it reminded me of like very early Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
It almost made me think like, wow, like like Wisconsin and stuff like is very similar to Canada.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They have like because the mic was like
yeah,
blah,
they,
blah, blah, you
they
know,
share a lot of that.
They
show a lot of
everything,
that.
and I'm
And
like,
I think that's why Justin Vernon liked it too, because he's Wisconsin.
okay,
And
okay,
yeah, I think they really do share a lot with like Canadians in that
Yeah.
sense. But I loved his accent. It was funny.
but that Trailer Park clip, I'm like, holy shit, like that's just such a cool setting that people don't explore anymore, like especially if you want to like take it back to like like 97.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like trailer parks were definitely more relevant then. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
They're still relevant now, but like
They might have been a more like a new concept at that point.
yeah, exactly. Like there were like whole brand new trailer park like neighborhoods being built and set up like
Yeah. Dude, it was kind of crazy hearing like the interviews about him from his family and like hearing him then break down his character. It like really painted the picture of him.
yeah.
And especially when they're like, he wants these big houses and nice cars. But also like I was like, there's sometimes that he would say things and I was like, oh man, I said that at one point in my life.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Where he's like, all these fools working 9 to 5s. That'll never be me, man.
yeah.
Like I'll only a few more months of this, man, and then I'll finish my movie, man.
Yeah, his one little girlfriend was like, yeah, there's just a sense of like he doesn't want to be where he is.
Yes, she's like,
And then
everybody
she's like,
wants
she's
to
like,
be
but
somewhere
doesn't
else.
everyone want that?
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I probably I probably walk. I'm like, that's when I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, do I seem like the
Yeah.
person that never wants to be where, like,
Yeah. I felt called out.
yeah.
I felt attacked.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that because at first I'm like, all right, this dude is so like, I'm like, yeah, all right, like I could relate to this dude, but I'm like, this is like a very specific, like if I'm like filming a music video that I like know exactly how I want it, but I'm like, very often do I know exactly what I want with things.
Yeah.
To where like I get that, but I'm like, that's so rare in my life that I'm like, I don't relate to him. But then as it goes on, I'm like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
like maybe I am more like him than I think I am.
One,
like,
like he's
and that's cool and bad too. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
weird.
It
It's like-
makes you reflect on your own self.
yeah, like you wanna, like you wanna be like him, but then it is also like, and it's part of his struggle too of like I want to be somebody. You know what I mean? Like it just the sense of like he doesn't want to be like. You can tell there's some sort of like judgment. And he holds it. But there is some sort of like judgment for the life he lives.
Yeah, I think he feels in a way like bad about his current situation, and he wants redemption.
Yeah.
And he wants to show that none of it was for waste. It all led to something.
Yeah.
And I relate to that. I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's kind of wild to me how different it would have had to be to film a movie then in terms of coordinating. Like the scenes where they're like calling it, they're like, hey, we have a rehearsal meeting tomorrow at this time. Will you be able to be there?
Yeah.
Or it'd be like, hey, can you be an extra in my movie from 9 to 5 today or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, damn.
But
Like,
it
they
all
had more leaps than people do now, and I don't know. I guess more
Yeah.
movies are made now, maybe, but
Yeah, but not on that level. It just shows you just to try it. You know what I mean? Because I think especially even back then, like, I don't know. Maybe people were just more like, sure, like or people were, not like people are more busy now, but people are more.
They have more
fake-
options.
Yeah, people. Yeah, exactly.
Like you could just watch TV or play PlayStation
Exactly.
or all of these things to de-stress and relax after your long day of work.
Yeah, more
Like,
options.
I feel like people are more stressed out. Everyone seemed like so chill and not stressed in this movie. You know what I mean? Everyone's kind of laid back.
Yeah, people kind of knew who they were a little bit more.
Yeah, or like we're more okay with that.
Yeah, more content with who they were.
Yeah. If anything, like Mark was the only like kind of clout chasey person. Do you know what I mean?
Kinda. Yeah.
Not that he was
Clout
like,
chasing.
not that he was really chasing clout, but
Yeah.
no. The first time I saw this, every time I watch it, I feel inspired a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, it like warms my soul just to see like the connections and the relationships in it. It feels like very authentic.
Yeah. I love the mom too. The mom was great.
Yeah,
She was really awesome.
and I feel like they all like.
She was very honest. Like she even said she didn't believe him at one point, and that's like kind of heartbreaking. But I'm like that the reality of that is kind of it's just real. It's
Yeah.
just great. Like
Well, and then it's like despite her not believing, he pushed through it and
And
did it.
yeah, and she helped him no
Yeah.
matter what. Even though she didn't believe it, she would help him too. That's the other beauty of that too. Like
Yeah, like a level of honesty, but also a level of love,
yeah,
and that's what was sick about it.
yeah, great movie.
Yeah, it was a lot of. Each time I watch it, I get something more out of it. It's one of those. It's like it feels like a relic in a way, or like a really hidden gem.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, how did this movie get made? Like,
I know there's one clip in it too that I'm like, they knew this. They knew what they were doing with this too. Like they almost knew how this would impact in 20 years at that moment with just the one scene when they're like, "Get Bill some cheese and crackers," and he's like, "I'm thirsty too. You got a drink?" And then Mike's like, "Here," and they gives him a soda. Cracks it. He's like, "What's this?" He's like, "That's Coca-Cola's new soda, Surge."
yeah, I was like, whoa, I remember that.
And I'm just like, holy shit, just this clip alone is like so like distinctive. It's like that's not like that's just gonna be so like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, like this movie was filmed amazingly too. Like it paid attention to so many small details, like the scene where he's like riding in the airport parking lot, and like you see like his coffee mug and like his cigarettes and like his scripts that he's like
Yeah.
jotting out, and it's like, damn, this dude is really he's about that. He's about it.
Yeah. No, that's what makes it seem mockumentary is how well it was done.
Yeah, and like he is such a unique character.
Yeah, true,
Like
yeah.
equally parts like delusional and driven and talented, but also like alienated.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved seeing like and it was rare, but seeing the few moments where he kind of starts to change a little bit, crack a little bit, like especially the one moment where he's in the car and being like, should have known this was how it was gonna end.
Yeah, last shot by
me
myself.
alone. You know what I mean? He's got all this shit going on with his like girl and
Yeah,
his,
but it's also funny because it's the shot with Uncle Bill.
yeah,
It's like, oh, right after that.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? I forgot what I was. I'm blanking.
damn.
I know.
Damn.
I know. This is what I was gonna say, but the scene where Mike's like, yeah. So I did like a tab of acid, and turns out it was like 99% PCP. And then I woke up in the hospital. I was like, man, where am I? These are all these bright lights. And my first thought was, I gotta check my pockets to find the other 3 tabs.
so I could drop it in the hospital.
So yeah, and then my mom came in. She had the 3 tabs in her hand. I was like, damn, I can't drop the tabs now.
It's funny because he also said they analyzed the acid and it had a little bit of downer in it, and the
Yeah.
downer like saved his life.
Yeah. I was like, whoa. Oh, he would just like say some things just so honestly and lucidly, and you'd be like,
Yeah. No, the end of that's where I really said on a mic was like at the end of that he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I got tons of stories like that. He's like, I got so many. He's like, I got lots more drug stories if you want to hear them. He's like, would you want to hear them sometime? You know?
part of it, and like you kind of touched on it before, is like, I feel like all of these people in this did not understand, or like did not think that this movie would be seen by like people. You know, like there's like a level of like honesty and like realness in it that I think they were just like, All right, let's see. Like, are they you even gonna like do this documentary? Like, why would you do a
You know,
documentary on this guy?
that's kind of an interesting point. I do think maybe even like,
Because you get like Mike just saying like even the lottery thing. It's like, bro, don't you know that they're gonna hear this later on and be like, Mike?
I think in the 90s, maybe people were like, they know that, like, now it's like with the cell phone, it's like, that the second you stop recording, you can just 2 clicks, pull that video up and play it out loud on a Bluetooth speaker if you want.
Yeah.
Like back then it wasn't like that. Like you had to sometimes get the shit processed.
Yeah, or like somebody takes a picture of you and you never see it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? To where it's like maybe cameras didn't feel the same as a camera being out as we do now.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Or like a little bit like, yeah, oh, it's just a camera, like that.
Like we take for granted like how much like what I'm saying? Like I could just take a picture of you now and be like.
And the internet changes it too. Of like, all right, like, oh, that someone could just post that right away on the internet. But like back then, it's like, all right, what are they? Even if they do have something like of me that I don't like, what are they gonna do with it?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Or yeah, they have me saying something crazy. Like, who's gonna see this? Like, the cops gonna see me talking about LSD? Like, no.
Yeah. What are they gonna do?
Yeah. When are the cops gonna go through his footage?
Yeah.
Like,
Or how are they gonna find me?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you know that wasn't me being a mockumentary?
Yeah. Exactly.
That guy, Mike, had passed away this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Heartbreaking.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. It also, like, I don't know. There's moments where I'm like, man, like, this was 20 years ago. 20 plus. Because it was probably filmed, it was released in 99, but probably filmed 97.
Yeah. No, it was all 97. It was like 96 and 97.
That's crazy. And, like, I don't know. I feel like they instantly knew that they got gold with this guy. And he was just a cool character.
Yeah, it shows to go on that he did more acting than anything because
And he was a good actor, too.
yeah,
That scene where
he was acting his
like,
own shit.
He's like, they're making a mockery of my script. I got to go back in there and show them how to act it.
I really do kind of want to see Coven
I do, too.
because like just the clips that they showed of it, it's like, all right, like yeah, I know this is jumping in like weird ways, so we're not seeing the full scenes to where I'm like, all right, yeah, it looks kind of weird, you know what I mean? But like also just yeah, aside from it all, it's like even like the opening of it, the music, the sound, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It made me really think of like, all right, like if he's doing this, it really made me think of, yeah, like what's the ADR was a big takeaway from this.
Yeah, that was cool.
Huge takeaway from this. Of, all right, like, yeah, like I know I can film some cool shit. Now it's like, all right, about taking a whole second process of just.
And I mean, you have access to music.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, I got mics, I got all that shit. It's like,
Yeah.
like, and if he's doing, it's like, why not?
Yeah.
And it also made me think too, like that camera he had. It's like that seemed like, it's like, all right, how did he get a hold of like a like a camera like that back then? Like that might have been, and yeah, it's like you can get a hold of it. Like, he owed lots of money, whatever, but like, it also seemed like, the cameras, like those type of cameras are like more metal, which means that they can be like fixed and like tinkered with a little bit
you can fix cameras.
They can take, you know what I mean? They can be worked on. You know what I mean? That's the interesting thing about like, I think about like machinery versus technology. It's like you buy a machine from the 50s, you can make that bitch run forever if you know what it is. You know what I mean? But but computers die out. You know, like
Because and that's I feel like no, definitely. I was gonna say that's like profit driven stuff. You know what I mean? And it like sucks that we have to deal with that, especially like we can't the non-repair stuff. I think. Like I'm processing this thought now, but I feel like he was like the perfect timing to have access to that kind of equipment, because in like the 90s, everyone was suddenly being like, oh,
switching to digital shit, yeah.
And like it didn't quite have like now that camera was probably like really expensive because people like it's in demand again. But he might have been able to be like scoop that from somebody who just doesn't use it anymore, who bought it,
a couple $100.
or whose grandpa bought it. You know what I'm saying? And like just got it at a garage sale and just had to buy the film. But it definitely made it look good from what I saw in the shots.
So I'm saying, and I've seen those cameras. They have like the built-in tripod, like the little floor tripods to them, where you can like, do like the little crank down from the ground.
That's
when he's
sick.
doing like and it's like,
yeah, and like he had access probably to the editing machine because people probably weren't using those as much, but they were around a ton because they had to use him a ton before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I watched this the first time, and every time I watch this, I'm like, damn, if he can go out and make a movie, like,
We can.
yeah,
Yeah.
like not. It just takes the drive and the vision.
Yeah, the vision too, because no matter what, he had the idea for Coven. You know what I mean? It just takes having the complete idea,
Yeah,
and that's what appeals to shorts more to me now.
no, definitely. Movies are just so strange, especially in comparison to something like music, where music feels like the process is like a little bit more immediate, right? Like you're
Yeah.
writing something and like you're hearing the notes, but like you're writing a movie and like for a while there's nothing. There's just like
Yeah.
words on a script and ideas, and like it might take like 6 months of that before you're even like finally shooting something.
Yeah,
And that's cool too. It's just like a different thing to wrap my head around in terms of like payout. You know what I mean? Because like you make that beat and you're like, oh, I can listen to that beat now.
yeah.
You make that demo, you're listening to that demo now. But like, I don't know. You write
You write
like
that
a
script though. You can read that script.
That's true. That's true. That is true. You're not wrong, but you can't like. I guess you can't be like, watch this.
Yeah.
You'd have to have someone read it. But that is something too. That's
But
tangible.
like I don't know. Say like I don't know. It'd be cool. Like say you went and bought like this is just dumb, but you bought like a pack of moleskins, right? And you just wrote it, like handwriting scripts in them or something like that. You know what I mean? And then you just have it on your shelf. You know what I mean? And then you got like, oh wow. I'd be happy to have like multiple ideas, like even if they never got.
Yeah, that's true. And I think if you were like printing out the script actively, it'd feel really something.
Yeah. Yeah, I have an old script that me and an old buddy made, you know what I mean? That's just like a small short film script, you know
That's
what I
lit.
mean? And it was just always printed out and saved, and
Yeah.
I always was proud of even having that.
I've been trying to like brainstorm short like film ideas and just like add into my notes app whenever I think of one.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. And sometimes I start thinking about one of them more and more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never think about short film ideas. I really want to. I always say I want to like do that, but
Yeah.
I always would rather come up with like, or like if I do come up with an idea, like be like, oh, that should be a movie, like.
Yeah. Short films are so weird because it's like you kind of have to like work. The story has to be kind of small, like
Mhm.
intentionally,
Mhm.
so that like it all gets covered impactfully by the movie.
Yeah.
Um.
But I've been thinking just a lot about character arcs and about like just how you can look at one person at the beginning of something and then look at them so differently at the end. And I think that's really important. I want to bring that into music, not to switch the subject. We can rate the movie and switch out if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess. Yeah. Let's rate the movie.
Okay. I mean, I might give it a 10. I don't know, like.
Oh wait. I don't know what the buttons are
That would
anymore.
have been ha ha ha. Anyway. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I hate to continue the 10 streak but I think it's a 10 for me too.
Yeah, I think it's a 10. It's a good movie. It's a
There's nothing else like it
yeah.
that feels like it.
I do think a lot of creatives can get into it. You don't have to even be necessarily into movies.
No.
Like
And I think you just relate to him.
I think it might be like, a little bit harder for some people to like push into. You know what I mean? For them to click play on, and it might take a good 30 minutes of it to really like appreciate him.
Yeah. No, definitely.
But
There's something so honest about it.
yeah.
Like it doesn't hold back who he is.
I think because it did take me like there was like the first like 10, 15 minutes of it. I was kind of like on my phone a little bit, and
Yeah,
then
and you kind of aren't sure what like's going on. You're like Northwestern. but
Yeah.
what's going?
and I was like, I don't think I missed anything, but I am a little lost. And then so it takes a little second to fully figure out like, yeah, what is going on
Yeah.
and like why everything's happening
and like Mike's humor sort of like keeps you going along. And you're like, all right, well at least he's funny.
yeah. And then you start learning who people are,
And they keep coming back. And,
Yeah.
But it's a good ride. I was so happy. Like it's just like such a. I don't even know how. I mean, I know how I found this movie, but it's like a movie that has stuck with me ever since I saw it.
It's a cult classic.
Oh, definitely.
It's one of those movies.
And it's like really a cult classic because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of cult classics they'll be like, oh, this is a cult classic.
but it's like Pulp Fiction.
yeah, exactly.
Speaking of, that's a good transition out of this.
Yeah. Into the music thing you were gonna say,
Um,
or into Quentin Tarantino's last movie.
I'll say my music thought real quick. But I've just been thinking about like how to do a character arc in an album. I want to like really. I don't know. I've just been really thinking about that lately. Like that's like a new idea I've been because I feel like there's so many concept albums, but it's not like
No, I get what you
full
mean.
character arcs in it. You know, I want it to feel like the like the
I feel like some people have like pulled it off in a way, but like not in the way that you're talking about. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it could be expanded on even more.
Yeah, I think people have definitely pulled it off, but I think it's more subliminal and more hidden.
Yeah. I feel like that's what Kendrick always aims for, but he's like maybe the only artist that ever aims for something like that. But it would be cool to hear that done in your style.
Yeah.
Um,
I just wonder if there's a way, and making it kind of cinematic, mixing it with like the slightly cinematic album type, you know, skit type shit, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
things that blend in with it, and but just how you can mix it all, like all together, like, you know, and really just get across that story. I don't know.
yeah. And like make it
Yeah.
so like you not even that you have to have visuals for it, that you could just hear it and hear the growth
Exactly. Yeah.
and like feel that you've gone through a story with somebody.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I would be here for it.
Yeah.
I feel like your music would be very suited for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna try some of that, and I'm also working on one of the. I'm gonna be working on one of the old records soon. One that you want to drop.
Woo! Let's go. I don't know
One
which
with-
one's like let's go, but
The one with the city title.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
but that was a positive. Oh shit! Here we go again.
Yeah. Oh shit. Here we go again. Yeah. Here we go again. Oh my god. How many times have I said that?
I don't know, but as long as you
I'm
keep
gonna
saying
drop
it,
that song finally.
hey, as long as you keep saying it, that's the best part.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
But yeah, I'm gonna start make my little comeback season with that song.
Hell yeah!
It's time. It's
It is
time.
time.
Just like it's time for Tarantino to come back and then finally leave for good.
Yeah.
I'm just
I thought you
kidding.
were about to say it's time for Stevie to come back.
No, you was just here. You was just here last week. You made your own American movie.
That's true. That's true. And I was saying I got a song this week.
Hey, it's lit.
That's what I was joking.
It's lit.
But yeah, Tarantino. It's very
Crazy.
confusing because a lot of information came out, and then some dude was like, none of that was real.
Who said that?
Some guy that like is close with him. I don't know.
So it may not be real. The movie critic may not be Tarantino's 10th movie. I loved the title of it.
I do too. I'm
Oh.
hyped on it. I was kind of mad that the dude was like, they might not be real.
It was supposed to follow some like actress in the 80s or something too.
And I love when he does Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, like 80s Hollywood sounds dope. The movie critic too makes it sound like, all right, what is an actress and a movie critic? Like, what is their story gonna be? I'm like, oh, all this sounds good. It sounds like maybe like a classy, like if he goes for a classy aesthetic to end it, but still Tarantino and fucked up. But it's just like, I don't know, very classy Hollywood vibes.
I think a lot of people are expecting like him to have some kind of big statement too. Not like direct, but like the movie is a statement. Like I don't know. There's a lot of build up. And I love the idea of him rapping on a 10th.
Maybe he didn't want all that info to come out, so maybe that dude's kind of.
I think that might be the case
divulging
too.
A little
I
bit.
think that might be the case too.
I
It's
hope-
also it was funny hearing from Samuel L. Jackson sort of about it. I don't know if it was a quote from this news leaking or a different quote, but he was like, "Yeah, Tarantino like normally doesn't tell me like about the project until like it's filming, and if I'll have a part or not. He usually is just like, yeah, I got something for you. Yeah, I don't." He was like, he kept referring to like the movies not as their titles, but he's like, the Nazi movie. He said that I thought maybe I'd be like a French soldier or something, but he said he already got somebody to do the French soldier. But then I did a voiceover for the Nazi one, and then for the slave one or something like that. I forget. He just like kept referring to like the movies. I was like, that's
The slave
hilarious. He's
one.
like, you're in these
The
movies, like
Nazi one.
you know these names.
Then the Western. What do you call? I wonder what he called that.
He might have called that the Western.
Yeah, the Western one.
But I'm excited to see where it goes. I think that's gonna be like the next Oppenheimer in the way that like people track its like casting and hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a big movie. It's big. I've always been a Tarantino fan loosely, but I've gone up and down, and sometimes I just, it's like, all right, sometimes I just feel like I don't care that much, but then like,
Well, you never want to fall into be like one of those Tarantino
yeah,
bros.
exactly. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah, I don't want to be that at all.
Because like I love Tarantino, but like
yeah,
he's not my top.
yeah, but it's hard to love him, and it's hard to, it's hard to say you love him too.
That's fair too.
But this is a big deal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like if.
he really does wrap it up with this one.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Whether it's his last movie or not, this is a big deal because this is supposed to be his last movie, and that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, if anything, it's his 10th, and that's like kind of cool
Yeah,
in its own way.
yeah.
Apparently, Paul Thomas Anderson might be making a big movie in this same time period, and people are like, Paul Thomas Anderson and Quentin Tarantino's showdown at the Oscars.
He's gonna do an '80s Hollywood movie.
I don't know what he's gonna do, but they're very close, those two. So it would be funny if they were showing down.
What if two directors like that made like some kind of like movies that like fit together as a story?
It'd be interesting. I'm trying to think of like two. There's like a bunch of times where I feel like things connect.
Yeah. Yeah, like the, I mean, like the loose, there's the things that are like kind of connected, like Her and Lost in Translation,
Yeah.
But like it'd be cool if two like prolific people like that like did something like in kind of unison, you know what I mean? That were like,
But they're like own takes on it and
Yeah.
felt original in each
or
way.
like something like it's like kind of like one story,
That'd be cool too.
like maybe even like one person kind of crosses over.
Yeah.
Like that'd be super interesting if like.
That'd be wild.
You think Florence Pugh's gonna be in the new Tarantino?
We'll see. She would be up there for like a contender for a spot, I'm sure.
Wait, you see my man Andrew Garfield? He booking all types of shit.
Yes, he is.
He's booking all types of shit. He's booking Florence Pugh movies. He's booking Sydney Sweeney movies.
Yep. Did you see him at the Oscars when they did the Spider-Man
Yeah,
turnover?
yeah. And Toby was in the room, wasn't he?
I think so.
Tom wasn't.
Tom wasn't. I don't think so. The Oscars are pretty exclusively like if you were in something that year.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure, or are relevant
Yeah.
for the year.
What was he there for? Tick Tick Boom?
No,
was last
he
year.
was in something. I just can't remember what it was. I'm blanking. He might have been asked to do an award because he was in something last year.
Yeah.
He might have won something last year. I don't know.
Anything big happened at the Oscars? Everything, everywhere, all at once. Swept.
We got our live action incorrect. Our live action shorts, we were wrong.
Yeah.
So that's why you guys are picking our movie.
Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis won.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser won.
That was a big upset, but awesome. I think for me it was interesting watching Everything Everywhere go from like this movie that was like, is this gonna be good, to being like, it's incredible, to people being like,
Now it's like an Oscar sweeper.
yeah, but now people are like, oh, that movie's so overhyped, and here's all the reasons why it's not actually that good. Even though like we just said it was amazing for the last 6 months, now it's overhyped and like, it's like a reflection of marvelized cinema.
No, it's
and oversaturation of stimulation, and I mean, I love it. It's
fuck
10
what
out
people
of-
think. Overall, it's a total win that a movie like that sweeps the Oscars.
Yeah.
It's not like a fucking, you know what I mean, one of those movies. It's not like
Sleepy,
yeah, it's not like, I don't know. I'm
Big
not
Cause, like of course, like this one's gonna sweep because it's like
yeah. I mean, I feel like most of the movies nominated this year were like decent, you know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of times it's a ton of movies that I'm just like, what the fuck is that? Like,
yeah. I feel like in different years, like Banshees would have swept.
yeah, exactly.
Like that would have been more of an Oscar movie.
Yeah. And like no hate on that, but I'm glad like something like that didn't sweep anything.
Me too.
Everything,
Me too. I was just glad it was nominated for stuff.
Yeah.
Or like the Fablemans would have swept.
Yeah. Which I mean that I don't know. That does seem different to me, but Banshees definitely seems like one of those like very distinctive like time period movies that are like that's like mainly dialogue or something that just wins everything. It's like, yo, how are you going to say like and I'm not saying that that's what that movie is, but like I don't know.
No, I get it.
I'm just happy. Yeah, I think it's a good thing that
Oh, I do too.
won so much. A24 they had another sweep year, didn't they?
I don't
Wait.
know. This is the
Or
most.
no, this is their second best picture, right?
Yeah, because Moonlight was the other one.
Hell yeah.
The
That's
guy,
crazy.
the producer of it, he like had a slip up in his speech.
What do
He
you
was
say?
like, he was like and he taught me that you put no person over profits, and that you put no other people above another person, or something like that. He meant to say no profit above a person. Like you don't put money over people, but he accidentally said like you
No
don't put
person
you
over
don't-
profit.
You don't put a person over profit.
Yeah.
And then you don't put
Whoops.
any person below you or something like that. Like nobody's below you. It was just like a slip. It was a good speech besides that. Obviously,
Yeah.
I loved Key's speech the most. It was really inspiring.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I think I seen like one clip of it,
Yeah,
one small portion.
yeah. It was just a very.
Didn't he
very
say
good
something
speech.
to his like mama?
Yeah, he was like, "My mom's watching this, so I want to say hi, mom."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He has a wild story, and it was cool to see him win. It was also cool to see Harrison Ford announced Best Picture,
And he
He was
won.
like, he's like, "We won!" And he
Yeah.
was so excited to give him a hug. That was nice.
But fucking Jamie Lee Curtis, man, she stole Angela Bassett's Oscar from 30 years ago
Damn,
by winning this year.
damn.
Can you believe that?
I can't.
Everyone's mad because Angela Bassett got snubbed like 30 years ago, like
Yeah.
really badly. And
I
so like people like kind of understand why Jamie Lee Curtis won, but like also like it would have been nice to see Angela Bassett like win,
No, for sure.
and she did like do so good in Wakanda, so it makes
It makes sense. And I honestly, this is maybe a hot take, but I did think Jamie Lee Curtis had a great performance in Everything Everywhere. Like it was a wide range of being like awful white person to being like
Yeah.
very relatable, like a woman. I don't know. I thought she was a glue to the movie that worked really well, or like made other people's emotional arcs land better.
yeah.
But I would have rather seen Stephanie take it personally. But
yeah,
it was cool
that
seeing.
was that was also fucked up. The photo of everybody with their Oscars,
Yeah.
not her.
But I mean, like when Jamie won, like Stephanie like went crazy.
Yeah.
Did you see the movie that she's about to be in? The Seth
Stephanie?
Rogen produced one.
No.
It's called like Joyride.
No.
It's like her. She's like from an. There's like one girl, and she was raised by like her parents. I think are immigrants.
Mm.
And then there's another girl, and she was adopted, and they're like best friends. And then when they were older, they like decided to go to China for a road trip, and it just goes like haywire.
No.
Like
I
the
didn't-
trailer just shows like a clip of them on a train, and they get in with this like white girl, and she's like, "Oh my god, the police are coming!" Like, and they're like, "You're a drug dealer," and she like blows coke on all of them, and so like they have to do all the drugs, or else they're gonna get arrested.
Crazy.
But that looks like a fun. It was one of those movies that I'm like, all right, now it's like a comedy, like a
Yeah. You
A
see
real
that
buddy
new Jennifer Lawrence trailer?
yes, that looks wild too.
That looks weird.
That looks like a 2000s movie.
Yeah, there's like a few of those coming out now,
I'm with it.
especially after Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear changed the game.
You haven't
People
seen
don't want
that
to admit
yet?
it. No, I haven't. I will see it soon though. I think it's on streaming. to
Nah,
rent.
it's you can pay
That's-
$20 to rent it.
Oh, I should probably just go to a $5 Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push it to next Tuesday, not this one, but the next.
Yeah.
But I want to see it. I'm a Cocaine Bear supporter. Cocaine Bear was at the Oscars.
Yeah, I seen that. Elizabeth Banks and Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I think some people were mad that the whale won makeup. I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because that was some people's complaints too about being in a like fat suit.
yeah, and like that's why they won. Yeah, it feels weird,
Yeah.
at least to me.
Yeah, it sucks that like I mean if it sucks that like there's like a little bit of Brendan Fraser hate now. Like
Yeah, I mean, like, and I feel like I can't tell what part of that is real, and then what part of that is just like the internet, just criticizing.
I mean
any-
it's all
any-
it's both real and the internet. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean? But it's also not real, you know, cuz it's the internet. Like I know that doesn't really make sense.
No,
but
that makes perfect sense.
yeah. Did you see that one meme though? To someone who's like, I tried to get Brendan Fraser to sign my shell with a mouth on it, and he looked at it and said, "No, thank you." And it's like literally a shell with like a weird mouth in it.
What? Do you see like the little Marcel interview with Brandon Fraser?
No,
There's you should look it up. It's really sweet.
that's funny.
They're like just on Skype.
That's good.
But But yeah, it was a solid Oscars. It was kind of boring. I didn't watch it live. I was watching Last of Us live.
I know Jimmy Kimmel, he hosted, right?
Yeah, I think there's too many references to the slap, to be honest.
Yeah, I heard they said something funny though of like talking about like James Cameron, Tom Cruise, the two people who tried to get everybody to come out to the theaters last year are not here.
Yeah. Apparently, well, first, James Cameron apparently was doing something kind of lit, which is he threw a whole party for everyone on the cast and crew,
Of what?
like a watching party. Like he threw a big,
For the Oscars?
yeah, for the Oscars for his cast and crew for the Avatar
Mm.
and their families. And I thought that was nice. Like, to not just, like, abandon them all and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, celebrate with your people.
Shut up. I'm just kidding.
I think it's kind of nice, right?
No, let's hate on James Cameron instead.
That's fine. We can hate on Tom Cruise instead, though. He didn't come because he heard that Jimmy Kimmel was hosting, and apparently Jimmy Kimmel has made some jokes about Tom Cruise, and so he didn't want to come and get roasted. And maybe Nicole Kidman was going to be there, too.
Mm. You see that Austin Butler
Yeah.
and Vanessa Hudgens
Yes.
clip?
Oh.
Her look, she just is like, you could just see her like process, like, oh shit, it's fucking
Yeah.
Austin Butler right there.
Did you see any of Chicken Shop Girl?
No.
Her things? They were funny.
She was at the Oscars?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I gotta see all that.
She has some
I'm
good
gonna look that
ones.
up immediately.
Yeah, she's like it's like Seth Rogen's one of them.
She
Pedro,
run into Andrew Garfield
think
again?
so. I don't
God
think
damn
so.
it. They did.
Paul Mescal. She interviewed him for a little bit.
Hell yeah.
She caught him at like I think all before the after party.
Yeah, she's dope. I love her.
I love her too. She was tight. There's like an interview with
Shania Twain.
Hugh Grant. Oh, she does have the Shania Twain
Yeah.
interview, but Hugh Grant on the red carpet. And did you see that clip? The like host, I think she's from E Entertainment. She's being like so bubbly and like friendly and like trying to ask questions and like she's like, "So, what are you excited to like be here for? Are you excited to see anybody like go in?" He's like, "No, I don't know." He's like, "You were in Glass Onion, that's nominated this year. Like, what was it like filming on that? It looked like a fun movie to be in." He's like, "Well, I had 2 lines." He's just like giving no energy back, and it's so awkward. I feel like he just didn't want to be there, and he was just phoning an interview.
Yeah, probably. Makes sense. I mean, he was only in 2 lines of Glass Onion.
That is true. Great lines, though.
Was he in anything else?
No, just Glass Onion. But should we explain to the listeners what our pick is next week?
Yes. I mean, so we
kinda briefly
did, but yeah, we made we had a bet for one of the Oscar noms, and we picked who we thought was gonna win, and if we both lost, then that means you guys get a pick. So how are we gonna do this? Should we give 4 suggestions, or just make a tweet and have people just respond? And how do we choose a winner? We just random pick the one again?
Yeah, I think we could do what we did last time, where maybe we post on like IG and
Yeah, we'll
like
do a
Twitter.
draw
to
on
get,
a hat?
Yeah, draw on a
Okay.
hat. I like that idea. Unless there's like a bunch of the same suggestion. You know what I mean? If like 5 people come in and they're like Human Centipede 2.
Well,
Maybe that'll be it.
I mean, wouldn't it be fair to put Human Centipede 2
That's
in
right.
5 times?
I agree. Okay, you're right. That's a good point. Good point. You're not wrong.
No one put Human Centipede 2. I do not want to watch the sequels to that. We watched the first one. Now anybody who is watching this and does like put their 2 cents in is gonna put Human Centipede 2. But hopefully you have something else you'd like us to watch.
Yes, please.
Please. So yeah, and I guess since we're on YouTube now, you can put suggestions in YouTube under this video as well, and we'll include it into the hat.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess we could put that little clip on YouTube too when we film it.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, you guys should give us suggestions right now. And you should also follow us at movieclub.com.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, let us know what you want us to watch next week, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Next week
Anything
it's the last episode before 100.
It is. Today's 98. We didn't even intro the pod very well. Fuck.
It was a good intro.
I mean,
Take that back. It was a great intro.
we didn't say the number, but it's 98 today.
I
Yeah.
think so.
So then we got 99, and then the big 100. Yeah. So a big guest pick, and then it'll be the 100th episode, which will be.
We gotta
We'll
pick
think
a
of
classic.
something. Yeah, we'll think of something. Maybe I'll start a new group chat with
Yeah.
everybody and see.
We could do Ocean's 11 because it'll be like Ocean's 11 with how many people will be on the episode. We could do Infinity War because it'll be like the Ultimate Movie Club crossover.
Yeah.
We could do Fast 9 because it's all about family.
We already did Fast 9.
We could do Fast 8 because the real heads know we already did Fast 9.
We could do maybe Fast 10. Maybe Fast 10 will be out by then. Who knows?
Please, Vin, give us an early copy.
Yeah.
We'll give positive reviews.
Yeah. That'd be so dope. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? Oh my god! If only we were something already. We could have pulled off the early copy of Fast 10
Yeah.
for our 100th episode.
It would have been lit.
Oh man. Well, it's been a good episode though.
Good episode, good kicking it.
Basically TV Club today, but
It was a good TV club.
yeah.
It's about to be more TV club with Ted Lasso continuing to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, and once you finish Swarm, we can really talk about Swarm. I want to do
Buzz,
a whole
buzz.
Swarm convo next week.
Yeah, we'll get that buzzing.
I know you're going to finish it by next week.
I will.
All right, well,
Cool.
thank you, Stevie. Thank you, listeners. Jinx.
that was.
Jinx, you owe me a surge.
Reference.
All right, well,
Peace.
it's been a good pod. You guys have a good one.
What do you mean by that?
Give me a fucking break, buddy.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.